Hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're just doing a follow-up of our Rise Above talk show that we had last time. We had Bridget with us, who was one of the panelists. We were talking about work-life balance. So Bridget is a single woman, and we want to hear from her perspective. And we welcome you, Bridget. Welcome once again. And
Thank you,
you do
Poppy.
your brief introduction. And then we have with us also Delia, our co-moderator from Uganda. Delia, you want to say hi? You want to say something?
Hi, people. We're so happy that you're back here with us. Stay put, don't go anywhere.
Yes. So Bridget, welcome. Please introduce
Thank you,
yourself, Bridget. Let
Poppy.
us know you.
Thank you, Poppy. So thank you so much for having me again. I'm very happy to have this follow-up chat with you, Poppy and Delia. So my name is Bridget Babranalumu. I live in Uganda. I'm friends with Delia. I'm very happy to be here with her. It's been a long time. So I stay in Jagala. That's just a little bit outside of Kampala, and I am a public health specialist. I have a master's in public health and also an entrepreneur. So I consult in public health, a variety of topics, but all based in public health. And I run a small business called Biz and D's Handiworks. So actually, right now we are working on opening an e-commerce store. So we don't have a physical location, but we're opening an e-commerce store soon. I say we because I have a few other ladies that I partner with, and so yeah, that's what we're working on. I'm single, like Papi said, very single. You know, these days single has quite a number of meanings, but I'm very single, meaning I'm not dating yet. I have no children, biological children, but the pictures that you see on the slide are my adopted children, the three of them, at the bottom picture. And then above are children that I support. They live in Kitgum. That's in northern Uganda, for those of you who know that part of Uganda. And then the three children that I adopted, I used to take care of them, but I don't stay with them. They stay with their grandparents in Gulu. So that's Opio, the little big boy, and Atie Masi, and then the little one is Ball. So I'm very happy to have met them, and I bless God for them. I think that's a very good introduction. I think, Papi, is there anything I've missed
Yes.
out?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for introducing us to
Great.
your adopted children as well. So
Mm.
yeah, you told us you're single and very single. Good to know. So people who are out there, please note that Bridget is single and she comes with a package of three adopted children,
Yes.
very beautiful children. So thank you so much for that. We want to know, Bridget, how do you balance everything that you're doing? How do you balance your work, and how do you balance your personal life as well?
Mm. Okay, so I think maybe I'll just try to really just add onto what I spoke from the talk show that we had. I
Yes.
remember mentioning that I try to be as organized as possible. Um, at the beginning of every week, I take off time and write down a list of everything that I have on my plate. Now, it doesn't have to be something that I have to do within the week, but I write down topics such as um, public health. I write down B's and D's handiworks. I write down, well, recently I became a tutor of the French language. So I'll write that down as well. And then I'll write down the ministries that I'm doing. And so I'll just write everything down and put everything into perspective. And then I'll write another list that includes all the things that I have to do through the week. And then I'll write down that, I have this consultancy and I have to write this document. I have to send it to this person. And I write down all that I have to do during that week for B's and D's. And then the ministry work that I have to do. So I write down just those different lists and I'm able to keep things in perspective. But I found that it also helps me not to get overwhelmed. And when you get overwhelmed in your mind, it doesn't have to be that you actually have a lot to do, but when your mind is running around over a lot of things, they seem like there are too many. So you get overwhelmed, and then burnout sets in. But I try to keep that kind of perspective that helps. Now, some people will say, "I know, but I'm not a list person, and I don't make lists of everything." I think that lists are helpful because they are part of planning. And I think we've all heard of the saying that if you don't plan, you're planning to fail. So even if you don't plan as you ought to, you're still planning in a way, to fail, to burn out, to get stressed, to get depressed, and all of that, and feel overwhelmed, and chronic fatigue and all of that. So it's better to plan than to plan to fail.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you for that, Bridget. But I'm sure you learnt about planning later in life. What led you to start planning and doing this list? What led you into
Mm,
doing the to-do list every week? And
yes.
was it because you had
Honestly,
so much on your plate, or because
mm,
someone just informed you this is what you need to do, or
mm,
did you get in a depressive situation when everything was just falling apart?
no. Mm. Well, it actually, I think the first option that you mentioned is what happened. It was that I found out that I had a lot happening, and I found that so many opportunities were coming to lead different groups of people and teach and mentor and work and consult, and all these different areas. They're really my passion, and I enjoy each and every one of them. But I figured that all of them trying to pull at me would tear me apart if I don't organize them and control them and know that this week this is my priority. So I actually learned that, and I found that it helped me. The more I had on my plate, the more I started to plan, and the more I planned. And now I use different types of diary. I have a written one, I have on my phone, I use Google Calendar, I use, and the more I have, and I know how important it is. I think I mentioned this in the talk show as well. The more I know I have to do, and the more I value each, the more I know that God has placed it into my hands to do. I value it enough to know that I have to handle it with care. So I plan better, and I plan more, and I plan deeper, to get to the nitty gritty of every issue, so that when I get to do it, I do it right and I do it fast. And that's at the best that I can do it. So no, I didn't get depressed or anything. I didn't I didn't read it anywhere. But later on, reading some advice from different people on business books, and you know I found that it's actually quite a popular concept to make lists. So I thought I'm on track. Nice.
Great. It seems like your work and your life is quite balanced, and you know how to prioritize. So how do you know what to prioritize, and are there risks of maybe when you've prioritized something and something else needs also to be given priority? Are there certain risks like that? And how do you handle that situation? When you have two things that take priority, they take precedence, and you have to do them at the same time, then what happens then?
Yes, actually, that happens quite a bit. And
Mm,
I've realized that usually I get that imbalance of prioritizing when I enjoy a certain thing a bit more than the other at a certain point, or when I'm afraid of taking like the next step. I'll just give an example. There's a consultancy that I was working on, and then I also had a bit of work that I had to do on the B's and D's e-store. So, but because this consultancy was new, anyone who knows about consultancy, it's like with every new client, you're trading new waters, because they're completely different organizations, they're completely different clients. So at every beginning of a project, you feel like I am so new to this. You feel like a child, you know nothing until you get to the second phase where you've really learned your client and you've started to really understand their problem, and you have now an idea of how to trade. Um,
mm,
so I had that fear that, oh my goodness, this seems like such a huge and momentous client. I don't know if I can do this. So that subconscious fear just got in the way and made me start procrastinating to start working on that project. So I'd keep going to work on B's and G's. And, I was telling myself, no, B's and G's needs me. But I knew that I still had this fear of, I don't know, this is such a new client and he's so much bigger than I've had before. So that happens, but somehow is know why if the word exists, I'm deprioritizing, or I have that imbalance in my priorities. I know it's probably because of either anxiety about the project that I'm trying to keep away from, or so it's that's mostly been the case. And I just have to pull myself when and say, you know what, Bridget, you still have to get this done. So sit down and do it. And I do it, not leaving it for last minute and all. So yeah, it has happened before.
Wow, great. I don't know if you're like me, I'm also a planner, but there comes a
Mm.
time, you spend more time in planning than executing. Or rather, you've planned so much, then executing is a bit hard. Everything looks like is quite demanding, demanding of your
Mhm.
time. Has this ever happened to you? And how did you overcome this?
I think
Because at
that
times you might not follow through with everything.
yes.
Yes.
So
So
it has happened before, yes, and I've sometimes I've had that worry that I might be too much of a planner, that I don't get things done, but I feel
mm,
like that has actually become a very good thing. I have leveraged that I don't want to call it a fear, but I've leveraged that feeling into pushing myself to do what I've said I'm going to do, so
mm,
that I'll only write down something I'm going to do for say 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And if I've not yet done it, I'll not write it down anymore. But I just get up one morning and I get it done as far as I see it get done. And it reminds me, I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and he wants to start his master's, but it's going to cost him quite a sum. And right now he only has about half of it. We're talking millions. So he only has about half of it. And he kept feeling like, I cannot begin until I have the full sum and I've kept it somewhere at the bank. And
mm,
I feel like I told him, you shouldn't do that.
mm.
If you're going to trust in God, it's going to be that you might not be able to see that light at the end of the tunnel. But if he
That's
has
true.
put the desire in your heart, he's not going to frustrate it when you come halfway, you masters.
Mm, mm,
The first step that you see, if you see the frame of that first step, of which you have already half the money, the university you want to go to, what you want to study, the passion is there, take the first step. And then he'll show you the next step and you take it. He shows you the next step and take it. We don't
mm.
have to see the end of the road because it's so winding. We have to trust him. We have to trust the leader.
True.
So I've been able to do that, and whenever I'm planning too much and I can't seem to move my foot, and I can't seem to get over the book where I'm writing my plans, I just
Mm,
get off. I'm like, you know what? I think you're procrastinating because yes, you are scared to move. So
mm.
get up and do what you've written already, and then the next step will come. So yes, I've faced it before more than.
Okay.
Mm.
It's good to know because yeah, at times you can plan and then you don't really execute. Well, at times, everything looks like a priority and you do a bit here, a bit there, but nothing is quite complete yet. So
Mm.
tell us about family, Bridget. I'm sure you have family. Uh,
Mm.
where do they fall into this balance?
Okay. So speaking of family, that is the family that I'm born in. All
Mhm,
my siblings are married right now, so they all have their families. They've all begun families, and so because they stay a bit far from where I stay as well, we see each other you know, every
mhm,
other weekend, every other month sometimes, but we keep in touch all the time. And we keep in touch. So I'm able to go see my mom. She stays in Kampala. So I'm able to really give in the time that I need to give in,
mhm,
and call them and share little tidbits about my life with them, so that even as I'm opening the e-commerce store, they all know at what stage I'm at, all the limitations. They know my adopted children, and of course I know my nieces and nephews, of course, but but I know what they're doing, their work, and so I also let them into what I'm doing in my life. Just because I stay alone doesn't mean that I can't be intentional about that family of mine, even if I don't stay with them. So I'm very intentional about it. I let them know almost everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm up to. Um, I love gardening, so oftentimes I'm just letting them know, hey, I'm buying these seeds, and all this and that, and this is what these seeds do, and this is how helpful they are. And so yeah, that's I've been really intentional about family as well.
Good. You seem like you have everything balanced out. Everything is going well. I'm sure you make some people feel quite jealous. So
No,
how are you doing?
I don't think
Tell
so.
us the secrets. Apart from planning, having a to-do
Mm,
list, there are secrets that we need to know. Because clearly,
um,
yes, you have adopted children that you go
yeah.
to see quite often. So,
Mm.
how do you manage all this? And how is a man supposed to come into the picture and, you know, take all this
Interestingly,
as well?
interestingly, so I think that maybe I'll just answer the first question and then probably get to the others. So I think that for me, the number one concept that has really helped me plan my life, but then also um, be intentional about every day and the things that I do is, I would say, from the Bible. It's from Luke chapter 12.
Mhm,
So there is a parable, a very short parable there that I don't think I'll read it so that everyone can find it. So there's a
mhm,
small parable there that the Lord, it was Jesus speaking, was giving a small parable, and he talks about a man that was so rich. He sowed and he reaped very, very bountifully. And so he spoke in his heart and he said, I've made such a great harvest. I'm going to build bigger barns and I'm going to store up all my food.
mhm,
And the Lord comes to him in the night and tells him, "You fool, if your life is required of you tonight, who are you going to live? Who is going to take over all of this? Who are you going to leave this all for?" And
mhm,
the last part of that parable says, this is what the kind this is what the man who does not keep his treasure with God looks like.
yeah.
And so for me, from that perspective, I keep thinking, yes, the Bible says he who does not work shall not eat. But I keep reminding myself that I cannot only work. Excuse me. I keep reminding myself that I cannot only work to eat, per se eat on earth. I have
Mhm,
to work to keep treasure in heaven as well. So every time I'm cutting out, like sometimes half my day, quarter my day, to do ministry and to teach and to prepare a teaching, to lead a certain group of young ladies, I keep reminding myself that I'm not doing this for the money, but I have to store up treasure in heaven. So I try very hard not to completely fill my life with work and work and work and work. But I remember that I have to minister to the Lord. I have to minister to fellow Christians, and I have to keep that also as a focus, as a priority. So I think it really also helps me keep maybe the best word is level-headed, that
mhm,
I'm not just about an 8 to 5, but I'm so focused as well on keeping my treasure in heaven,
mhm,
while I even work and minister and reach out to my children and different people around me, and do the things that I'm passionate about as well. You know, so yeah, I think that for me, in a nutshell, that's what has really helped me. I keep that at the back of my mind every time.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's good. So your spiritual, this is also your spiritual health that you've put in check. Uh,
Mm,
you mentioned that you do exercise in the other talk show. So your
yeah.
physical health is also good, and well, generally, I can assume even your emotional health is good. Yes, is top
I
notch.
hope.
Since you seem
um
like you have everything balanced out.
um I thank God for that. I think for us, it might not be 100%, but I
Yeah.
thank God for that. And I think that I think you would agree that in our society today, that is what actually makes it harder
Mm.
to to um to just be yourself, because so I have this temptation often um to try and I don't know the best word to say, but to try and, if I can use any other word that I have, is like water down, or not be so audible about myself, or the things that I do, or the things that I'm passionate about, or sometimes when in ministry, you're called upon to preach, I can easily say no, because I'm thinking, wait, guys will see you there and they'll be like, oh my gosh, listen to her, she's so well spoken. And people are saying, being you sometimes can be very intimidating. So I think about that sometimes, and the temptation that I have often is
Mm.
try and be less, so that some guy out there will not feel so intimidated that he cannot approach you. Because it's not something that I'm proud of, to be single right now. I would
Mhm.
like to be married
Mhm.
in the Lord's time, and I would love to have a really, really big family.
Oh
Sometimes
wow.
I tell people that, and they think, what? With all that you're doing, how are you going to do it? And I'm thinking, wait, this is just this season. You would be surprised that after I get married and I have my children, I'll completely be the perfect,
Mhm.
mother and parent. And so I think about that sometimes, and it's quite the silent temptation that I have sometimes. So, and I'm sure a few other ladies have faced it, apart from those who have, just gone about, I can do this life thing alone. And but yeah, it's quite the difficult thing sometimes, the seasons when it's really, really difficult. Yeah.
Great.
Mhm.
So I like how what you've mentioned about, yes, the time and the season, and in God's timing, I'm sure, yes, you'll get your man, you'll find your man. This man will find
Amen.
you, you know.
Amen.
And I hope you have that time also to be out
Yes.
there, socialize with all that you're
I
doing.
do.
You have time to socialize as well, so that you can be found.
Yes.
It's fine. And no, you see, you cannot intimidate a man who's meant for you. No man can be
Yes.
intimidated. If he's for you, he likes what you're doing, he will not be intimidated. He will be there for you. Unless it's
I've
he's
had
not
that
man
before as
enough
well.
to take up
Mm.
a woman like you. Yes. So thank you so much, Bridget,
Thank you,
for your
Papi.
time. Thank you for coming in and just sharing a bit about yourself, opening up
Thank
your
you.
life. Is there anything else, maybe a parting shot you want to leave us with? Any advice to
Yes,
people out there on anything, work-life balance?
yes. Maybe I'll definitely speak to the single ladies. I don't think I can really be able to speak to the single men, but the single ladies, is really that, develop a quiet heart in your season of singleness. Develop a quiet heart. That's from Second Peter, I think, where the Bible says that a quiet heart is really a treasure, and it is something that is of great value, and it is priceless before the Lord. So I
Mm,
think to develop a quiet heart will entail so much, but it will show if in your life being content and you going about your work, and not having um your spiritual life or your heart in turmoil,
mm,
even while you go about your work. So, because some of us put up the show that, we're okay. So we get the job and we have our car, and, but inside we're murmuring and we are grumbling and we're thinking, God, why are all my friends, getting married, and why are all my friends, getting the masters, and, if you don't have a car, why are all of them seeming to be successful?
mm,
But I'll just encourage you to take one step at a time and take that step with God. do whatever he has given into your hands to do today, you know, and try as hard as much as you can to keep God at the center of all that you do. So whether he does send a spouse or he does not, may we, I speak as we single ladies, may we be found like the group of young boys before the king who were thrown into the fire, and they're told to bow down. You know, today's world tells us to bow down, either be stressed or just get pregnant. You don't have to marry the guy. You have your job and you can do this. That's what the world tells us to bow down to. But may we be found to be faithful and not do that, you know, and say, you know what, my God will provide a spouse, he'll provide a family, he will provide in his time. And even if he does not, I will not bow down. So I think that's, for me, that's what I would say to. It also helps you to do your work with a lot of peace, and to plan with peace, not to be so stressed about getting to the next stage of your life that you barely work and you're constantly socializing because you know you're positioning yourself. And yeah, but really trust in God first and foremost. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Bridget. That's really sound advice for the single ladies. Don't be in a hurry. Don't jump the gun. Don't be like Sarah, looking for Ishmael to fill in the shoes.
Yeah.
So it's good to wait upon the Lord. Thank you so much, Bridget, for that.
Thank
It's
you,
really great
Papa.
advice to the single ladies out there. And
Thank you so
now
much.
we just want to end our show. Anything from Delia, our co-moderator?
Really, thank you so much, Bridget. It's been a pleasure having you here on Rise Above, and we look forward to having you again and again. Thank you so much. I'm sure everyone out there has taken something, has picked a leaf, probably the whole tree.
I often use that. Thank you, Delia.
Thank you. We are waiting for that testimony. When you find this man, we are waiting for a testimony from you. We
Amen.
cannot wait. Yeah, may God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Papi.
have
God
a good
bless you
day. Please
too.
remember to subscribe to our channel, The Rise Above Talk Show. Like, comment, share with your friends. And it's been a pleasure. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.